Galnet News Digest Review of the Year 3307. The year 3307 was the year of the Admiral Vincent trial, of the Jupiter Division and of the Galactic Summit. It was the year of the rise of Salvation and the fall of the NMLA and Theta 7. We learned about the 200-year-old biochemicals company Azimuth, its impact on recent history, and about some truly horrific experiments. On the last day of 3306, human expansion from the bubble suffered a setback, with seemingly coordinated strikes by Thargoids in the Musca region and in the Witchhead Nebula. Only a few months earlier, the ghost ship Adamastor had pointed the way to what might have been the earliest confirmed encounters with Thargoids, and this, in turn, led the Alliance to expand rapidly into the Musca region and the adjacent Coalsack Nebula to exploit the rich meta-alloy sources found there. The Sirius Corporation's subsidiary, Sirius Atmospherics, tagged along for the ride, apparently planning to terraform ammonia worlds. This plan seems to have been the trigger for the first Thargoid attack in 18 months. It wasn't until April 3307 that we began to find out more about Azimuth Biochemicals, the owner of the twin megaships Adamastor and Hesperus. The Hesperus was discovered abandoned and being picked apart by the Scrivener's Dredger clan. Encrypted logs indicated an attempt by rival company Pharmasapien to take the Hesperus by force. A mysterious, self-proclaimed scientist calling themselves Salvation drove the investigation onwards, claiming that their discoveries would save all humanity. On the 12th of June, commanders working on a tip-off from Salvation discovered a crashed anaconda, the Proteus. This had been a tender to the Hesperus, and a small team of scientists had used it to escape from the megaship when Pharmasapien attacked. The planet the Proteus was discovered on was unique. It had both Thargoid and Guardian technology and appeared to be the site of an ancient battle. It remains the only planet in the galaxy with direct evidence of conflict between the alien species. The logs found on the Proteus revealed that Azimuth was secretly researching ways of using alien technology to create superweapons, and that the crew of the Proteus had, in fact, succeeded in creating just such a weapon 200 years before Aegis and then engineer Ramtar took their first steps towards integrating Guardian technology into anti-Xeno weapons. Now, had they not managed to kill everyone on board when this weapon malfunctioned, the course of history might have been very different. It appears that both the official anti-Xeno organisation Aegis and Salvation, about whom the Pilots Federation issued a stern warning, were trying to research this lost Guardian superweapon. Aegis had recently lost the megaship Alexandria, which was stuffed full of Guardian technology in mysterious circumstances, and both it and Salvation issued appeals for help in collecting new samples from the ancient battle site. Commanders decisively elected to help Salvation rather than Aegis, and it was this that helped shape the fortunes of these two entities for the rest of the year. Aegis was largely suspended to allow an inquiry into its inefficiency and mismanagement. Salvation, by contrast, was able on the 20th of September to test fire a prototype superweapon in the Cornsar system, a system that had been unexpectedly overrun by Thargoids. The Thargoids in that system were completely wiped out, either escaping or crashing. The response from the Thargoids seems to have been to invade even more systems, with the Pleiades being heavily targeted by Thargoids that proved harder to eliminate than any previous invasion. This gave Salvation an opportunity to strike again. On the 14th of December, when the Thargoids were eliminated from the Maya, Merope and Delphi systems. As the year draws to a close, it seems that the Thargoid threat is waning, but Salvation claims that they are preparing a solution to wipe out the Thargoid threat completely, sometime in 3308. Meanwhile, Professor Albert Tesreau, who'd recently resigned as head of research from Aegis, has been working with engineer Ramtar to reverse engineer Salvation's superweapon amid concerns that Salvation may be using unethical or dangerous technology against the Thargoids. At the end of August, the long-standing mystery of Hyford's cache in Colonia was finally solved, and the story behind it links into both the 200-year-old story of Azimuth biochemicals and the Guardian Thargoid battle, and the current work to develop a superweapon by Salvation. Commander Hyford had been employed in 3302 and 3303 to transport human test subjects to a secret research base called Oaken Point in HIP 26176. Project Seraph, which appears to have been run by a Professor Thomas Dorn for Azimuth biochemicals 200 years after it was believed to have ceased to exist, had captured a Thargoid scout ship and was attempting to use cranial implants on human test subjects to allow them to fly the alien ship. Dozens of test subjects died in the process, and Dorn seems to have regarded them with as little compassion as he would lab rats. Dorn's aim was the same as Salvation's 4 years later, to wipe out the Thargoids once and for all. In Dorn's case, he would use the Thargoid technology against its creators. Some limited progress was made before the captured Thargoid scout stopped working. Azimuth's military wing, the Black Flight, based at Fort Ash in HIP 22460, attempted to capture another scout, but they were overtaken by events. In May 3303, Azimuth and the Black Flight were no longer able to conceal the gathering presence of Thargoids around the Pleiades, including much larger and more dangerous Thargoid interceptors, and the order was given to shut down the project and withdraw. The Black Flight megaship Overlook appears to have been attacked and destroyed by Thargoids before it could escape. Just who was in charge of Project Seraph remains a mystery. The logs refer to someone called the Witch. The whereabouts of Professor Thomas Dorn is also unknown, although his obsession for building a super weapon to use against the Thargoids may mean that in the intervening 4 years he has developed links with either Aegis or with Salvation. 3308 is likely to see either the triumph of humanity over the Thargoids at the hands of Salvation, or the unmasking of Salvation, if, as Professor Tesreau posits, they have good reason for concealing the true nature of this superweapon. Developments in this story are likely to have a massive impact on humanity, for better or for worse.